Monday is not a fun day, and Tuesday another blues day. Wednesday's getting better, Thursday doesn't matter, and Friday.
I wanted the people to see me doing my fake voguing, but it didn't happen well. Hey, everybody, welcome back. If it's a couple minutes past the hour, then you already know what time it is. It's time for the Club with Lucas here at TRC, RCE 106.9 FM. And on a little bunch of extravaganza today, you didn't see that I just fed my beautiful guest an amazing power bar, which I have to say, Barbarella is a wonderful, wonderful power bar. Find it. But anyway... I had to. I'm being joined by the beautiful, creative, and dog brain child mind behind the wildly loved Fever Dream TV, which is a one-man performance comedic art piece, which actually was just running at BCN's Fringe Festival as well. And now he's going to be dropping it for his birthday, and he's still in his 20s, kids. And this, my brother, is Nikolai Fallon. Nikolai, well, Sir Nick. We're going to call you Sir Nick.
Yeah, sure.
Well, and if we can show a picture of my beautiful brother as well.
Yeah, show a picture.
Oh my God.
Bring up the picture. Wait, my hat's kind of crooked. You know that so when I was coming here today, have you ever had that sinking feeling of despair when you're like, I don't know if I'm in the right place. Like I was walking up Brook.
This just happened to Nancy.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I wrote 645 Brook. Carrera del Brook, and so then I'm walking down the road, and I'm like, oh, it's like we're in like the hundreds, and then like the map was like, yeah, it's just like a former streets.
You already know.
And I was kind of like in my head, I'm like, there was a part of me that was like, the numbers are just gonna magically jump up to 600, but then there was another part of me that was like, but it's important to believe in magic.
Did you believe in magic?
I did, and then I was wrong. Yeah, and so I got there, and then I was like, oh, this is like 200. And then I like looked at the email, and I was like, oh, it's like, it was Gran Via. And so then I was like, luckily it wasn't that far.
It is not. When you finally get to the right area, there's a zone where Google fucks it up all the time.
Really?
I don't even use Google. I took the map. I want you to know I took your app map off my phone. Because it sucks. Just not in the good way either.
Oh, yeah. People don't like Google Maps. People. No. Okay, so my roommate.
She was just talking about another one that her girlfriend insists on, and it didn't. They got lost.
Okay, so this is the thing about Google Maps. It wasn't Google Maps. I was using Apple, and everybody tells me, like, my friend was like, when she first moved here, she was like, no, I only use Google Maps. Apple Maps keeps getting me lost, and I was like, no, Google Maps is the one that gets you lost.
Well, how long have you been here in the city? If I may
4
ask?
years.
Okay. Now you're hailing from where? Where are we coming from
I
originally?
so I was actually okay. So I before I came to Barcelona, I was living in Mexico for a year.
Madonna, which part of Mexico?
Well, Tulum and then Mexico City.
Mira nomás, way. Okay.
Yeah, I know you really like that.
Well, yeah, of course, because if my people don't know, I got Mexican blood all
I
up
know.
in me. Mexican blood. So, what did you think of my people?
Well, of course, I'm from Arizona, so I love Mexican people.
hello, yeah.
Yeah, my
We're Southwesters.
like very close. A lot of my family friends. My aunt is Mexican. My dad's side of the family is Irish, so
Okay.
a lot of- we
There's
were
a-
just like
There's a beautiful Irish-Mexican history as well, because during some of the potato famines, Mexico helped the Irish a lot.
I bet.
With some of that,
Yeah,
actually. So there's a
Mexico is
beautiful
amazing.
connection. It is.
Mexican people, I think, in my opinion, this is an opinion, are some of the warmest and kindest and most wonderful people I've ever met. And living in Mexico was one of the greatest pleasures I ever had.
Do you enjoy living here? Then?
I
love.
I think Barcelona's my dad and Mexico's my mom.
I wish I knew. I'm glad we got that recorded.
It was so beautiful.
That's great.
I loved it, and I lived in Tulum, and I fell in love, and then I would ride around on a moped. I remember one time when I was on the moped, one day it just stopped like really working, but I didn't know. And the thing about like motorcycles or mopeds is when they stop working, it's kind of when you kind of die. It's like when something breaks on it, like you hope that it breaks when you're moving slow. And for me, what happened is the accelerator started to get stuck. And so I was on the moped and I was like trying to go to like a cenote in Tulum. And the accelerator, I was listening to Bjork.
Which record? Please?
It was Vespertine.
Okay.
And I was listening to Bjork, and the accelerator suddenly got stuck, and suddenly I was going like 85 miles per hour, and I was flying, and I couldn't get it to slow down, and none of the brakes were working. And eventually I realized like something was like getting kind of stuck, and I was able to like, while I was in motion, like slow it down. And then
I love that you've just gone into this tangent story.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
I'll finish it really fast.
Yeah, please, man.
Okay, so this is what happens. So I get the accelerator to stop, and then I go into the cenote, and all of my friends had been like surprise visiting. Yeah,
Into the water?
No, like
okay.
into like the parking area.
Okay.
You're like, so you like jumped a fence and like went right into
Crashed
like,
into the water?
Where,
I'm
did you
seeing
hit the
this in my
crocodiles?
mind, actually.
Yeah. So like there's like people waiting. My friends are there. They go, Nikolai, so happy, and I go, hey everybody, and I never felt cooler, right? And then what happens is, as I'm like slowly rolling up, the accelerator jumps again, and the motorcycle pulls me like through the parking lot, and I'm like being dragged, and I like
Child.
it was, and I was ended up
Okay.
like covered in blood.
What?
Yeah. Like it hit my leg, and I was like dragged my face on and then I just went into the cenote, and then I.
And so then he got his blood all up in the water.
Yeah, I don't know if that was like the best thing. I'm
Well,
not sure about that.
Then that white Sargasso Sea got all over you. You know what? Children of the Corn, we're going to break for a quick song really quickly and then come back because we do have to talk about something that he's actually doing.
Oh, yeah, sorry about
which
that.
is called Fever Dream TV.
Yeah.
And actually, like I said 10, 20 minutes ago, it premiered at the Fringe Festival a few weeks ago, but now he's going to be doing another revamp extravaganza at the BCN studio in Carra del Alcano in Poble Sec next Saturday, a week from today.
No, Friday. It's
Friday,
next Friday.
excuse me. What did I say that? The power of Christ compels. Friday evening. And so we're going to be bringing that. And also this week, we're going to be sharing that a lot. So, but really quickly, the song that we're going to be playing right now is something that it's their last record ever, so they say. I'm hoping that this is like a Cher and Tina moment. But this is Glad by Saint Etienne. And if you don't know who they are, you need to school yourself. We'll be right back in 4 minutes.
You're looking down your street to tell yourself that things could be better sometime. Then you ask a
Hey, cats. Hey, cats. I was saying to Tien, and I know we did go off on a little bit of tangent, but we have a whole hour to do with my boy Nico. Well, Sir Nick, as it is over here. But I do want to talk about some stuff that's in plan happening right now because there's a little bit of news, and you know nobody serves up the news as we do here in English except me. So for Spain, but I actually got a couple of messages from back home about this because the Attorney General of the state of Spain has been told to leave his position. In fact, here's what happened. The Attorney General was convicted by the Supreme Court. Okay, so they're not effing around here. And he was found guilty of illegally leaking confidential information. Now, here's the thing. Sorry, it's a bit cold on a cold day, no? He leaked confidential information about the boyfriend of Isabel Ayuso, quiero ser tu pinche muso, in Madrid. Yeah, that heifer. And her cokehead boyfriend, allegedly. And he was guilty of tax fraud, and he was admitting it. And in this email that the Attorney General Alvaro Garcia Ortiz sent out, he leaked this information about this guy whose name is Alberto Gonzalez Amador. Now, he's not just anyone, like I said, because he's the partner of this extreme right-wing conservative politician in Madrid. It's still coming out, and it's cold, yo. Sorry. And the thing about that is that she's very likely going to be one of the leaders of the PP soon. And she, like many other people, including the leader right now, Feixó, are calling for the ouster of Sanchez. Now, the court has sentenced this guy, you guys, listen to this, to 2-year disqualification from public office. Remember, he was appointed by Sanchez. He has to pay a fine to the state of 7,200 euros and damages of 10,000 to this guy, Gonzalo Amador, who is guilty of tax fraud. And that's what this man was outing. The Attorney General was outing the fact, illegally leaking it apparently, that this guy is guilty of tax fraud. Now, let us all remember what has happened to other people who are guilty of tax fraud. You can kill your girlfriend here and get less than 2 years in jail, but you get multiple years if you do tax fraud. And now the guy who was reporting this, who's the Attorney General, has been kicked out of his position, has to pay the guy who's doing tax fraud 10,000 euros. It's insanity. And yes, the high courts and most of the courts here are led by ex-Falange and right-wing people. If you don't know what the Falange is, it's Franco supporters. And so we have a lot of ish that's going on. Now, obviously, Moncloa, i.e. the government here under Sanchez's administration, has said that they accept what has happened, but they are completely against it. They don't agree with that prosecutorial issue here. But this is going to draw some drama for him. Because as I just mentioned, the political party who against the socialists, the PP, who again were formed by the Falange, the right-wing men of Franco. So according to European constitutional law, they should not even exist as a party. But they are asking for the ouster of him. I just want to remind everybody that 6 years ago, they were ousted for fiscal fraud and tax fraud and to the tune of billions. And I guess we'll never know who M. Rajoy is. So what I'm trying to say is all these motherfuckers are guilty as hell. It does not implicate Sanchez at all that he was doing any of this, because he wasn't. But with all the drama that's happening with his administration and his wife's drama and now this drama, it is not looking pretty for him. Now, structurally, what happened interestingly was that before this verdict, the Sanchez government just weeks ago had passed through a major reform of how the Attorney General can be appointed, how prosecution services communicates with the government, and they limited much of all or any political interference. And then this happened. So they completely formed how the Attorney General can be elected and format and work his job, or her job, excuse me. And then this happened. So it all seems very, very fishy. All I want to say in a bottom line thing is if we go to some form of snap elections and the PP and Vox come in, I, as a Latino immigrant from the United States of America, I get a little concerned because like my girlfriend Nancy said in a podcast we were just recording an hour ago, nearly 25% of under 30-year-olds are supporting the extreme right wing here, whether it's Alianza Catalana or Vox. And that's a scary thing for a guy in his 40s looking at these people who are supposed to, take care of the country when I'm older. Because I ain't shit. Don't get that shit twisted, because that's probably not going to happen. Anyway, I don't want to scare you kids, but the power of Christ compels. And I just think that it's important to be aware of what's going on, especially when you're paying taxes and don't get to vote. Like me. But anyway, that'll change soon. Let's do another song because we've got so much more to talk to with my beautiful brother here, Nikolai Filan. He's got his show coming up on the BCN studio next weekend. This is Amber Mark by the end of the night, and we'll be back in just under 3 minutes right here on RCE and the Club with Lucas.
My day, how it tastes so sweet when you left me bitter. By the end of the night.
Next to each other.
No, because my... Oh, God, that was Amber Mark. No, because my birth sign is Taurus, and then my rising is Leo.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Oh,
and
interesting.
then my moon, for anyone who's now listening,
And my moon is Aries. So yes,
Okay.
I like to flow.
you see, but I
I have
am...
an Aries ascendant.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, we are here with Sir... Now, is it Fallon or Phelan?
Phelan.
Phelan.
Yeah.
Sir Nikolai Phelan, who is actually just coming up, like we said, on his birthday. Well, around that time, right?
Yeah.
It's on your birthday?
The 28th is technically the day before my birthday,
Okay.
but like at midnight, it will be my birthday. And so,
And you will have performed.
yes, and so then after the performance, we'll go. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do techno. I'm not sure. I'm like,
Okay.
no, I love electronic music. And I love dancing. I don't know who's playing.
Did
That's
any
the
of this
point.
inspire Fever Dream TV by the chance?
What?
Techno, music.
No, but I used to make
Culture.
electronic music.
Okay.
Yeah, so I used to be an experimental music producer, and I made this album that was called Wendy Eats Her Lover, and it was about a werewolf hooker named Wendy who falls in love with one of her clients, and then when he breaks her heart, she eats him.
That sounds like a fever dream.
It's very much. I think the thing is, like, the reason the show is called Fever Dream TV is just because, like, my brain is mostly fever dream vibes.
Okay, and let me ask you, what does that mean to have fever dream vibes?
I think that it's like there's a certain level of both arbitrariness, novelty, creativity, and then a little bit of just like a sprinkle of WTF.
Then do you mix it with a little bit of DMT and at the same time? No, I have a question then.
Yeah.
When did you get that bug for this? Like, when did you feel? Because you just said in the break that your whole family are water signs and your sister you're fire, and they're
Yeah.
always trying to put your fucking
No,
fire
but
out.
me and my sister were so the thing is that when you have my sisters and me are 4 months apart.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm adopted,
Love
and I
it, love
cover
it,
it in the
love
show.
it.
But me and my sister are adopted from Russia, and so she's 4 months older than me. So it's like growing up with a twin. But we would just do like we just had so many inside jokes, and we had all of our like the hardest moments or some of our like greatest memories were like just riffs that came after just really iconic things.
So the performance bug then was something that you shared with your sister, a la vez.
Oh, well, so I guess the performance bug came when I was 11. I auditioned for my community theater, and then I got the main role on the first try. And it was like a scandal.
Got
And people
it.
were really upset. They were like, he doesn't deserve it. And I was like, I know. I'm Charlie. I was
You were Charlie in the Chocolate Factory?
I know I was, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was so that was probably when I got the performance bug. And the thing is, then when I did that, they took me around the whole like city, and I would like do these performances for like in squares and stuff to like help promote the show.
Mm-hmm.
And
What
yeah,
city was it?
it was in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Side note. Lukey talking time. Were you there with the Phoenix Light, with the Arizona Lights in 97?
Yeah, technically. Wait, 97 when? I was born in 96.
Okay.
I was
so you were
adopted in 97. I might have been on the plane.
It was mid to late 97, and there was the whole UFO thing.
Oh,
Do you remember?
so we
The
were probably.
Phoenix Lights?
I bet you I just arrived just in time.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I was probably there right when they arrived because I was adopted. I was brought to Arizona in August of 1997. So there's kind of an interesting
That's
thing.
like when it happened.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's such
He
a vibe.
is the Arizona Phoenix Lights.
That's so
I
funny.
knew it.
That's so fun. I was like, I arrived and then I was like, the aliens are like, they're here. I did feel like I was touched by white light as a child, so I think that makes a lot of sense. It was aliens.
Well, you're like a white light that just walked in here.
Now, what are some of the things that you dive into? Because I noticed looking at some of the stuff that you're a variety guy.
Yeah.
And so we've already talked about you've done film, you've done music and electronic with a crazy werewolf theme.
Yeah.
Now, where does this vibe from? Where does that particular work from? The first thing we started talking about when we sat down together days ago was Cronenberg, and I was mixing it with another director.
I've always loved music. I've always loved three things: music, literature, and film.
Amen. Same
And
here.
it's because I grew up near a library, and my parents were very, very cool about letting me watch. Like, they didn't care what I did if it was from the library. And so while they would never let me watch rated R movies on TV, the library had self-checkout.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and so we would get secret rated R movies and stuff. So for me, a lot of my like freedom as a child with my sister was like these secret planned like movie nights. And so I think a lot of my references come from kind of, cinema, theater, like all those kind of amalgamations of things. And then you just kind of take the stuff that you love and find the weirdest or the most extraneous versions of it, like the stuff that feels like it's kind of like out in outer space, and then you just bring it down to earth and go like, isn't this great?
Yeah. Okay, I'm so vibing with that, and we need to bring back those secret movie nights, man.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know. I was actually trying to plan one with originally with the BCN studio, and it hasn't happened yet. But we'll see.
We're gonna do one in a smaller format, and we'll make it bigger, and we'll make it citywide. Is what we're gonna
Citywide.
do. Citywide. Now,
Citywide movie screening.
So
I
if
think
it-
we're gonna watch Brokeback Mountain.
oh hell to the no, we're not doing that. I can quit you or
Boy.
whatever the hell.
Boys Don't Cry next.
Now, how is developing your craft over time? I'm gonna surprise the cat.
And then a little bit of irreversible.
Okay, folks, we might have to break to his.
No, no.
I know he did not come here drunk, even though he might be.
What was your question? Sorry.
Now, how is developing your craft? It's a crafted question.
Yeah, okay.
Over time, the energy to different venues, like when you perform here, you performed other places.
Yeah.
Is there a place that you've really vibed with? More than others, maybe.
Okay, so I absolutely love BCN Studio. Comedy Clubhouse is legendary, and then I really like Secret. Those three have been really, really good to me. I was traumatized once at a Paragua, where they have like the queer comedy night, because I did some material and it did not hit. And it was like it was like kind of like 4 minutes. Once you start, you can't stop. And like as soon as I kind of started, I was like, oh, like they don't like this. And it was genuinely the worst time I ever bombed.
What were you not vibing with? What was the material?
The material was I did this bit where I would imagine what I would do if I were a woman, and it was it was very offensive, but it was like that was kind of the point of view of it, was this idea of like the kind of the angle was like, you know, that I think a lot of gay men have misogyny embedded in them, right? And
Do you think you do?
well, we all do. That's not like a question, but
Well, I think that many of us have spent decades working on the
this is the
realization
thing.
of that
This is the thing.
misogyny.
But it's like when you the embedded part is not, doesn't mean it can't be like, you know, it's kind of like
Triggered.
stapled, or not even a trigger, but perhaps like it can't be dug out. It's just that I think it's an active process, and if something is constantly being embedded in people, and it's kind of a cultural phenomenon.
Just talked about with Nancy.
Yeah,
Seriously.
this is the thing, though. It's you have to. It's a consistent maintenance.
Awareness of it,
Yeah.
mindfulness, totally, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, but it didn't fly with the audience.
So it didn't, and the thing is when I did it in my own show, it hits so hard. But the reason is because by then people have had enough time to know who I am, and that I'm there to be very silly.
Well, can I ask you a silly question then?
Yeah.
Who are you, man?
That's a really good question.
And let me record this. Oh, it's being recorded.
You're like, this is a silly question. Yeah. So, death. How do you feel about it?
Whoa, that says a lot in that answer.
Well, that's kind of, isn't that the answer to everything? I think that, like, I was recently reading my first poetry collection that I released when I was like 23, and I was going through some files to like send to my like lawyer for some like forms and stuff, and I like ended up finding like one of these copies, like the author copies of the book. And I was reading through it, and it was just clear, like when I was up till the age of 23, I was really scared of dying.
Okay.
And so I actually had like an existential like procrastination. So essentially I had believed, and I realized it while I was making the book, that the reason it took me so long, it took me 5 years from 18 to 23. The reason it took me so long to make that book was because I was afraid that if I did something significant, then God or whatever powers may be could strike me down.
Were you raised religiously?
No.
Okay.
But I did go to quite a few funerals as a child. And so I just feared. And also I think that there were some of my favorite artists, like, you know, Jeff Buckley, or like there were some really,
Got a docu that's just
yeah,
coming out.
I know I can't wait to see it. But like, you know, you see certain people, Amy Winehouse, like there's some people where they get to do one or two really significant things that are really significant, and then it's
27
over.
Hits.
Yeah, or some people it's even younger, you know. And I also like I think I'd recently like I had both the audiobooks for River Phoenix and James Dean on my phone, which are the only ones I'd listened to. So it's like I definitely think that like that had been like something that had been kind of, you know, orbiting around in my consciousness for a while. And then post that, I realized that I'd always had this need to like do things. Like I was always like every year I would set these goals for myself. So I'd like after the first book, then I was like I did the next one a couple years later, and then I was like music album, and then after that it was like screenplay, solo show, a children's story. You know,
what is that? Okay, does the drive do you? I wonder, and then we're gonna break to another little song. But I wonder if anything has to do with being adopted from such a creative environment and then going back to another creative environment.
No, I think that you know what the thing is that I do agree. It actually I do think it has to be with do something with being adopted, which is that when you're adopted, you have this sense that your life has a kind of a meaning.
From being adopted.
Yeah, because
you were wanted so
it,
much.
no, it's not that. It's that too. You know, a lot of people would hurl that to me as a child, but which was that like, oh, you weren't wanted. But in a weird way, that
Oh, no, I
wasn't.
said that you were wanted because
Yeah,
your parents
you are, yeah,
wanted
you are.
They were
They do,
chosen.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the ultimate pick me. Yeah, just it kind of worked out. It's like
Especially when it's
when
good
when a pick me
parents.
works out. Yeah, yeah. But the thing is yeah, when you are adopted, you have a sense of story to your life from the very beginning. And so I think that part of why there was maybe this need to do something or to create something or to be significant, it came from this like internal belief, and I covered it ultimately in my poetry, which was always a way of processing my subconscious, that I wanted to make my birth mother's like sacrifice worth it. Like if I ever connected with her, that she would be like, hey, you know, thank you. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Don't make me emotional in the middle of a show. I'm chewing, please. All right. We're going to throw on a song right now, and it's about exactly how I feel. I miss New York. This is Warner Case and Jean Tonique, and we'll be back in 4 minutes, kiddos.
I just love the vibe, man. The energy. When the feeling in the air is just right. In a tiny apartment or someone's roof with beautiful strangers. Yeah, I miss New York. I miss New York. Man, the energy. When the feeling in the air is just right. In a tiny apartment or someone's roof with beautiful strangers. Yeah, I miss New York.
Mile is so lovely. Oh my god. Okay, we are literally talking about spliffs right now, but that was New York because we
We were
missed New
talking
York.
about we were talking about blunts.
Okay, nothing with Zoe with Zoe and get the black and mild. It just gives that vanilla flavor to it.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the show because what did inspire Fever Dream TV?
So I spent 2 years, like, the truth is that, and a lot of people didn't know this, and they were like, the whole kind of scene was, I think, a little bit shocked when I came out with the show, because they're like, well, we had never seen you do anything over 5 minutes. And I was like, you guys hadn't given me a spot. And so, but that's okay. There are limited spots for things over 5 minutes. So for me, I had spent 2 years just cultivating material. And then when I had the material, basically I went to the BCN studio and I was like, hey, I have this show. And they were like, okay, and what's the show? And then I put together like a pitch deck and I sent it to them. And they're like, okay, great. And then I had to go make the show because they didn't have a show. And so I went and I like really threw it together in probably like, I would say like 30 days, but it was with my best friend Roberto, who's back in Toronto now. But
Shout out.
Yeah, Roberto. He's also he makes music under Fick Moreau. It's great music, but essentially he was the director, and so he would sit and just spend hours, and we would just go through it and go through every single source of material, and really it was just trying to figure out like all of these crazy different things. Like it was movies, it was being gay, it was being adopted, it was psychics, it was Bigfoot, it was, it was all these different, like this kind of amalgamation of things. And you want to create a world where an ecosystem where it can all exist, but then also kind of have a conceptual thorough line. And so for me,
That's the variety I meant that I
yeah,
mentioned earlier.
it literally, it is about, there is like a kind of this variety show aspect to it. And then the thorough line is connected to that kind of that existential thing that we talked about, which is essentially in the show, I'm connecting with this creator character, this like quote unquote God character who's like talking to me from above. And they want to know why I made the show. And I don't know why I made the show. And so in real time, I'm figuring out why I made the show.
Well, because you got a contract from BCN Studios to do it. Like, I had to do the show.
Oh my God, yeah,
Well,
that's
also,
a great.
because maybe another thing is that your word is your bond.
Yeah. So that was it. It was just it was like for me it was kind of like I think sometimes whenever you have a question in art, sometimes and I learned this when I was painting, you just kind of like you have to zoom out, right? Take a step back, and then if you're
To see a bigger picture.
yeah, exactly, because your nose is too close to the painting to see the lily pads.
And the forest from the trees.
Yeah, or like the Monet,
You know, I'm going to think of Clueless right now.
I know, yeah, but
Oh.
that's the thing is that's one of the best
30
metaphors
years,
ever.
30 years this past month.
That was my favorite movie when I was in college.
30 years. I was in high school when that shit came out. I was the age.
That must have been so great.
It made me wet. And I finally felt like somebody understood me.
Yeah, were you wet with like tears of joy or
No,
gratitude?
and my mangina was moist, and it was
Oh.
full on real. And I was actually really good because I did grow up in a very blessed, privileged environment, and I understood.
Did you grow up
shit.
rich?
I grew up economically blessed.
He grew up
yes.
rich.
Our towels were Diane von Furstenberg. Thank you,
Really?
mother.
You lived in the town with Diane von Furstenberg? Was she your
No, but my
aunt?
mom, we had DVF towels for some reason. I used to think they were my mom's initials.
Really?
But I was little. I'm talking like 4 or 5. I
Okay.
didn't understand.
You're like DV.
Because her name was Dora.
Dora, the explorer of my emotions.
Yeah, she's like Dora von Furstenberg, my mother.
Shout out my older brother Roddy for reminding me. But when you're performing this stuff and you're doing these things, you know, like we've talked about different places that you performed at. Do you get the vibes from the audience?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and if they're giving you hype, you throw that shit back out.
Always. I
Okay.
think that it's the thing that I've been really blessed with is I've never done the show for like a super small audience. The lowest was like Fringe and it was like 17 or 20 people.
Okay.
Otherwise, like at the BCN studio, we've pretty much been able to like fill the house, which has been great. I really live off the audience's energy. There's also interactions. Like there's a really fun game I play with the audience. It's called like
During this show.
yeah. It's called Cockroaches versus Divas.
Oh my god.
And we basically decide if something is either a cockroach or a diva, which a cockroach is bad.
Let's play it right now.
Okay,
quickly.
perfect. So, so cockroach bad, kill it before it lays eggs. Diva good. Let's see. Share.
Diva.
Okay, diva. Correct. Okay, how about this one? J.K. Rowling.
She was a diva who became a cockroach.
Yes, that
And
happens sometimes.
It does happen.
Divas
I mean,
just
look
a
at
diva.
Ariana Grande. You know,
Okay,
it's just-
here's my favorite. What's my favorite one? Oh, here, I have a good one. How about microplastics?
Ooh, fucking roaches all the way, man.
No.
And there's no way to get out of it,
No,
though.
no.
They're all up in our brain now.
No. I would say that microplastics are divas.
In which way?
Here's why. First off, we never heard about microplastics, right? For years, nobody knew about them. Microplastics, who's she? One day, everywhere. She just popped up. She was everywhere. The whole world stopped. That is diva behavior. That is
It
like
is diva behavior.
It's giving Chapel Roan.
Although her divaness has seemed to fade out lately.
Girl, we can't say that on radio, can we?
Well, I just did. And I wonder if it has anything to do with that second record.
She hasn't. Oh, because she hasn't.
Well, the singles that have come off it.
No,
I did like the first one.
Subway was good, but here's the thing that I would say. Here's my prediction. I really like Chapel. I think she's great. I think she's fabulous.
Unique as fuck.
I really love Rosalia, but I also think that it's crazy when you really like track it back. When Lux came out and you're like kind of tracking everything back, you're like, even Brat like is almost the little sister to Motomami. Like when you look at the Motomami show and you look at the Brat show,
It's been working up to this.
This is
yes.
the Motomami was like this
Well,
moment.
Brat was Charlie XCX.
Charlie XCX, yeah. So this is the thing. So Charlie XCX, like what Brat was true and honest to Charlie, and it was this sense of like using the power of aura.
Very minimal,
right?
too.
Very minimal.
Yeah.
But Motomami was minimal too.
Yeah, and so experimental. But also, in between Motomami and this one, in 2023 or early 24, 23, she did that video with Bjork. She's already done a single.
Yeah,
2
but
years
that
ago with
video
Bjork.
was AI.
It was AI, but the fact that they did a single together,
Yeah, but
there was an established history with them, and I really love the fact.
I love Bjork. Yeah.
Okay,
It was
you
a
just
go-
mentioned it.
Okay. Also, I
earlier.
really like that song "Oral" because it's I really like any one of Bjork's. Like Bjork is my favorite. She's my diva, right? Like if I said Bjork,
Bix, this is for you,
yeah,
babe.
yeah. If I said Bjork and anybody said Roach, I would stop the show. I would turn on the lights and I would get the audience to jump. Attack! I would be like, right.
Well, I mean, with all the things that we've talked about in your artistic background, the dark angel energy.
I don't know if I'm a dark angel.
Dark angel energy.
Yeah.
I called it out in the name of Jesus. Hail Satan. And do you think that, I mean, it makes sense that Bjork would be your diva to vibe with?
Yeah, because I think, the thing that changed it for me with Bjork is I remember the first time I heard her, I was on mushrooms at my friend's apartment, and this is in New Mexico.
Awesome.
And I just didn't like her. I was like, she sings like a whale, and I didn't get it. And then I met this guy, and I was camping, like this a few months later, and I met this guy, and he said this thing to me, and we were talking about Bjork, and I was like, I was like, she seems really creative, but I'm not sure, like, I can't get into it. And it was kind of funny because it was like, usually I move on quickly, but for some reason I was a little bit like latched on to why I couldn't get into it, because I was like, I should like this, right? And what he said was, well, didn't she have a stalker? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I ended up doing research into it, and it's really crazy. So, she had that stalker, and he tried to bomb her, and he sent like an acid bomb to like melt her face off or whatever it was. It was awful.
All is full of love.
Yeah, but it gets intercepted.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And the thing that really changed, that like I think shifted my perspective and made me go, I really need to listen to this person's music, was after that happened, she came out and she gave a press conference, and she said, I really want to send my condolences to his family. And I really think that this was somebody that was in a lot of pain. and I'm really sorry for their loss. And she sent them flowers.
Emotionally and mentally and spiritually aware at that young age.
Yeah, well, she's the age I'm now, 20. I think she's 28 when it happened. And to me, I said, that's somebody that I really want to know what they have to say, because if I, in my darkest moments, am able to show up with compassion and empathy for other human beings, and I'm able to represent that kind of light, then that is the kind of artist I want to be. Because when I had spent much of my like early growing, like kind of, development
Formative
process,
years,
trying to figure out who was the one for me, I would end up with this artist and they would be morally corrupt. And then I would be so devastated, because for me, having a moral compass is like generally the foundation of everything that I do.
Really, I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Interesting.
I like hearing you say that.
Oh, okay.
No, I just sometimes I feel like there's a vapidity or vapidness in certain generations where that does not mean shit.
I disagree.
Okay, good. I want
think
that.
I think that
Maybe it's kids here.
So I have a podcast that I'm developing right now, which is interesting, and it's because one of my writing partners, Chad Church, he's one of the most wonderful people on the planet, and it's his birthday yesterday. Shout out. Chad is from Generation X, and he's a black gay man in his 50s, right? And I'm a white gay guy in my 20s, a little bit longer. But we decided to start a podcast that was essentially about crossing over generations. And it was because we kept kind of having these ideas of we were generalizing each other. And that was it. Was like, we were like, oh, maybe we're both wrong. And I think that that's the truth. Like he'll say stuff like that. And I say stuff about boomers and stuff. And it's like, I think sometimes we experience somebody who represents a preconceived bias we already had, or we have this sense of exclusion from certain environments, or the otherness that we already like have had in other places, we carry it with us, not realizing that we can leave it on the side of the road.
There's also just empirical experiences. And I do believe that, and I know what you're saying because we did talk about this a few days ago. And there is an element, though, because I do deal with a lot of universitarians, and I do see, because there is an element where you can stay well into your 30s or 40s with your parents here. And when that is adopted mentality, you don't necessarily have to have that necessary awareness, mindfulness, because everything's done for you.
Okay, so you're referring to, I guess I'm thinking about like, I'm thinking about the people like
in the art community.
Yeah.
See, but I believe those of us who are in the creative
This is
community
true.
are often touched in a very well, where many of us have experienced things, put ourselves through situations, gone through trauma, experienced, therapy from that,
Right.
where we are able to show that creative light. We throw that. My name means light of
Right.
God. And we mentioned that the white light when you walked in. I'm filming you, and there's a white light, and there's something that in the creative process that feeds that. That's one of the reasons why we love the BCN studio so much. And Annie and the kids, shout out.
Yeah, I love Annie.
And
She's the best.
She is, and gorgeous. And I do think that there is an element where we need more of this cross-generational stuff. I want to hear this. I would like to, if I can ever throw myself in the middle. I'm a Zennial.
Really?
So I'm a bit, do you know what a Zennial is? It's an offshoot from between X and Millennial. It's the Star Wars kids.
Zennial.
with
Oh,
an
yeah,
X.
yeah. Okay, interesting.
The Star Wars babies.
So
at the end of the 70s, early 80s.
I'm whatever the one that's in between.
You're millennial.
No, I'm not. I'm between millennial and Z.
Well, if you're a 96er, you're a millennial.
I'm at the
Poppy.
end of 96. So 97 is when it becomes Z. Wow. So that's like cusp. So I'm like,
Okay, so exactly. So that's when you're a mixture of these things. And I think when you can see what I love about my generation, I know we need to start wrapping up, but is we were the last to have the analog and the first to necessitate the digital, like in high school and uni and all that stuff. And to go through the specter of that. And I love the ability to be able to see the two sides of that. And as someone who did live, country club bullshit, New York City, London here, over the decades, I've seen there needs what I think the most thing that's lacking just in general is a spiritual, emotional, and mental health awareness.
Also, if you grew up rich, you might have had a totally different. It's a totally different kind of experience. I think like sometimes when I think about like my experiences, I'm like thinking about like, oh, like I'm like, yeah, Gen Z's great. I'm like, when I'm thinking about like the people I met in the homeless shelter,
Exactly.
that's like a
Who
totally
are probably healthy.
Yeah,
I mean healthy. You know.
well, there's a
experienced some
sense of
shit.
there's a sense of empathy that comes from necessity,
Well, see, I may have grown up economically privileged.
and I'm not like shading that.
Not at all. I fucking blessed for that because if
Yeah.
I hadn't been with the abuse I went through, I would not be here.
Right.
Because there was a lot of very deep physical, like stab knives.
Oh
shit.
my god, I'm so sorry.
And that kind of issue when you go through that, when you go through that spiritual trauma as well, and that abuse, because my parents were also preachers and business folk, and it was craziness.
Yeah, it's really complicated.
And so when you come out of that shit, there is a sense of gratitude because you fucking survived.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of the issue that perhaps many of our men, more than women, don't have is they're not grateful because they haven't had to survive.
They haven't
too
survived
much.
things. This is the thing.
They have.
They-
No, I'm not saying we haven't. I don't want to broad stroke, but
But well, it's I think there's a thing that I forget. There was I think it's a Fiona Apple quote, which I love Fiona Apple. She's my
and then we have to close it
Okay.
up. But tell me the quote, please.
Okay, so what she was talking about was this idea of like there's a song called Every Single Night, right? And it's on her album called The Idler Wheel. And essentially it's about how her brain is going through all this stuff all the time. But later on when she was kind of being interviewed about it, she talked about this idea that is actually mirrored, I think, in Jungian like psychology, which is that when you do have ADHD, depression, these kinds of complicated traumas, there's even post-traumatic recovery or post-traumatic growth,
Okay.
or transformation. I forget the right term, but essentially you can advance yourself. It's almost like you can get the kind of the rocket pack on Mario Kart that like
Pushes you
advance,
up,
that
propels you.
advances your
It
personal
becomes, I
development.
think it can become like Paris Hilton wrote with Sia. Your ADHD, those cluster B, whatever, can become your superpower if you learn how to make it.
Yeah.
That way.
If you figure out once you figure out who you are, you understand your limitations. That's where creativity always starts.
Does Fever Dream touch on that?
I think that it touches on it in the way that the medium is the message.
Folks, this is coming down. It's dropping again. It's gonna be touring with this soon. So
Yeah.
catch it now. You can get your tickets right now. Actually, you can follow the tickets. We're gonna be putting links through that all through our interwebs as well, but through It's Kolya.
Yeah, its.k0lya on Instagram.
The minute you start putting it's K, it's going to come up. I promise you. But also, you can get this through the bcnstudio.com. You can get them through the BCN Studio social media web pages. This is going to be kicking off at 8 o'clock
Yep.
next Friday, the 28th of November here in Barcelona. Nico, we're going to have you back, man. We have so
Yeah.
much shit to talk about,
Thank
brother.
you.
Thank you so much for being
It
here.
was so much fun.
Thank you to Eduardo. Thank you to everybody. Remember, folks, take care of yourselves. If you're not taking care of yourself, how the hell are you going to take care of anybody else? And I will catch you on the flip side. Remember, we love you, love yourself, and I will catch you later, alligators. Bye-bye.